Hey friends, I'm Tim, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build a beautiful custom website using WordPress. This tutorial is step by step and you have no coding required. In order to build our website, we're going to use a platform named WordPress and a page builder called Elementor. So all we really have to do is a bunch of drag and drop and copy and paste. You can simply follow all my clicks and we'll be able to build a beautiful website after this video. Here you can also see some example pages that were created with the same technique and methods I'm going to show you in this video. They are absolutely beautiful and everyone can create those sites. No matter if you want to create a blog, maybe a business page or a personal portfolio. You can create everything you want and the pages are high converting and the best part, they are also responsive. So no matter if you open them up on tablet or a mobile phone, they always adjust automatically, which is really important in today's day and age because over 80% of your users will be mobile. Here I also opened up the Elementor page builder once just to show you how easy it is to build your website with this page builder. You can either just use drag and drop and then customize the content and style to your liking, or you could even use pre-made blocks and layouts that were made by professional web designers. Building websites in 2019 is easier than ever before. If you're ready to build your first website in just a few hours, I'm ready to show you how. Let's start. You probably ask yourself now how we can build a website without any coding. And the magical answer is WordPress. You've probably heard of WordPress before, but I'm just going to give you some little details before we start. WordPress is a content management system, or CMS. Basically, WordPress is a powerful platform that allows you to create and customize a website with several different themes and plugins. So you can create virtually any website you can think of without ever having to touch a line of code. It makes making websites easy and even a little fun. Every fourth website on the internet is built with WordPress. Some of the companies and people that use WordPress include Ariana Grande, the Pixies, Snoop Dogg, Usain Bolt, Channing Tatum, the Walt Disney Company, Toyota Motors Brazil, Bloomberg, Renault, the Facebook Newsroom, the New York Times, Flickr, Quartz, and so on and so forth. I think you get the idea. If you wanna save thousands of euros by making your own site and not hiring a web developer, watch this video, I'll show you everything step by step. If you're ready, I'm ready, let's go. So now that we are ready to get started, here's our game plan. First, you'll need a domain URL, which is simply the name of your website. For example, Facebook's domain is facebook.com, Google's domain is google.com, and my domain is timwessels.net. Domain names are usually paid for annually and are pretty cheap, with around $15 per year. The second thing you'll need to buy is web hosting, which is where you pay a company to use their servers. So you can store your website's data online and have your website live on the internet. Web hosting is advertised at a monthly price of about $4 to $8, but usually is also paid for in annual installments. So instead of paying web hosting every single month, you pay once for 1 year of web hosting. The third thing you're going to need is a copy of WordPress, which is totally free and available from WordPress.org. Now, there's a difference between WordPress.org and WordPress.com. We want WordPress.org because it offers the open source version of the WordPress platform that allows us to really customize our website to our liking. WordPress.com is sort of a light version of WordPress that is much more limited in functionality. So remember, just follow along what I do in the tutorial and you will be good to go. And that's it. Just these 3 things will get you a full custom website up and running in no time. Now here's the best part. Before, you used to have to get all of these things separately and then connect them all together. Now in 2018 or 19, whenever you're watching this, the process is a lot more streamlined. And all you really have to do is just sign up for web hosting and the rest will be automatically included. It doesn't get any easier than this. Okay, so now that we did that, we can really get into the step-by-step walkthrough from purchasing, web hosting to setting up WordPress and to customizing your own website. If you need help with any step along the way, please feel free to comment any question you may have and I'll do my best to help you out. Now let's really get started with our first, or should I say only step, getting web hosting. In this tutorial I'm going to use SiteGround.com. And why do I do that? There are a few reasons. The first being that I personally use SiteGround for 8 of my 11 own projects. And the second main reason that we also can see on the official WordPress.org website is that WordPress recommends SiteGround. So that personally was also a really strong factor for me when I started in web design. I also chose SiteGround in this tutorial because it offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's pretty great, especially if you're just trying to get started, because you can test everything, and if you don't like it, you simply cancel your plan and get your money back. And in my experience, SiteGround really has a great customer support, so if you have any questions or problems, you can simply chat with them or call them anytime, and they will answer right away and help you. So I recommend you use SiteGround for your website, but if you maybe already have a hosting account, or maybe want to use another web hosting provider, that's no problem. You simply have to skip this part where I sign up and install WordPress and have to figure it out yourself, but afterwards you can follow along this tutorial like anyone else. So that's no problem at all. Because this video should not be a SiteGround commercial, but a WordPress tutorial, I try to keep this part short. Sometimes in the future I will probably do a SiteGround review or web hosting review in general, so you can look on my channel, maybe it's up by now. But in case you decided to try out SiteGround for your own website, you can just follow along here and I will show you everything. So in order to get SiteGround, the first step is to click the very first link in the video description. Now why do I want you to click that link instead of just going to siteground.com? Well, there are two great reasons. The first being you get 60% off when visiting SiteGround over that link. And the second reason is that SiteGround recognizes that I sent you, and in return for recommending SiteGround, I get a little commission from them. That is at no extra cost for you, and don't worry, I don't just recommend SiteGround because I get a commission from them. I would actually get higher commissions from other hosters, but I really believe in SiteGround, and I actually tested and used them for my own projects. So that's why I recommend them. I would really appreciate if you use the link, but if you don't want to or use another hoster, that's completely fine too. I'll just click on this link and we're gonna get redirected to this site. So once we are here, we have to choose our plan. There are 3 different plans available: the Go Geek, Grow Big and Startup plan. In my opinion, the Go Geek plan has way too many features that we don't necessarily need in the very beginning. So that really just leaves it between the Grow Big and the Startup plan. The biggest difference between the two is that in the Startup plan you can host one website, and in the Grow Big plan you can host multiple websites. So that means as many domains as you want. I personally use the Grow Big plan because I have multiple websites on SiteGround. But if you're not quite sure yet, or you know that you're only going to have one website, I would recommend the Startup plan. You can also upgrade later on, so that's no problem at all. But like I said, if you already know that you're going to have multiple websites, I would definitely recommend getting the Grow Big plan. Because I will only sign up now for this tutorial and cancel later on, I'm going to use the Startup plan. But like I said, choose one of the two and click on Get Started. Here you have to register a new domain. In case you already have a domain and want to connect it with your host, you have to click on I already have a domain, fill in your domain, click on Proceed, and later on change the name server settings where you registered your domain. So if you bought your domain at GoDaddy, for example, you simply have to find out the SiteGround name servers and fill them in on your GoDaddy account. But you probably don't have a domain already, so I click on Register a new domain. And here you have to get a little creative, because a lot of domains are already taken. I would also recommend getting the domain wherever you're hosting your website, because it makes things a lot easier. Because you don't have to care about things like name servers or something like that. Right now I will fill in a domain name that is already taken, just to show you what it looks like. So, Timressits. And right here on the right hand side, you can choose the domain extension. I would recommend using a popular one because it looks more trustworthy. So maybe .com, .net, .org, .co, and maybe your country specific extension. So in my case it would be .de. Right now I will choose .net and click on Proceed. And as you can see here, it is already taken. So SiteGround has some recommendations for us, but you will probably just have to get a little creative. So you could for example, put something like that in here. And this will probably be free, but I don't want to register that. So I'm just going to choose another name. For example, testtutorial.net. This should probably be free. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is probably the easiest step. Here you have to fill in your information. So your email, password, you have to confirm your password, your country, first name, last name. If you have a company or a VAT, you can fill it in. City, street address, zip code, phone number. Here you have to fill in your payment information. So if you have a credit card, you can fill it in here. So card number, card expiration, cardholder name and CVV code. In case you don't have a credit card, you can also pay via PayPal. In order to do that, you simply have to go up here, click on help, chat with them, or somewhere down here is probably also a chat window. So you simply have to chat with them and ask if you can pay via PayPal, and then they will do it for you too. So this was the payment information, and here are the hosting services. So here you can choose the plan again. Just make sure that it's the right plan. In this case, it's the starter plan, so that's right. In case it's wrong, you click right here and you can choose another one. So starter plan. This feature is pretty cool, and I haven't seen that in too many hosters. Here you can choose where your data center is. Right now it's set to Amsterdam because they know that I'm in Germany, but you could also choose another one. So here you can click on change location, and then you can choose between Chicago if you're in the USA, Amsterdam if you're in Europe, London if you're in Europe, or maybe also Singapore if you're in Asia. Since I'm in Germany and most of my customers would be in Germany too, I would choose Amsterdam since it's the closest. And here you can choose your payment period. So you can choose between a trial for 1 month, which I would not recommend because, like I said in the beginning, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So that means you can simply test it, and if you don't like it, you cancel your plan. So a trial would be pretty unnecessary. So I would either choose 12 or maybe even 24 months. In this case, I'm going to choose 12 months, but if you already know that you're going to have your website for a long time, you can also choose 36 or 24 months. So in this case, I'm going to choose 12. Domain registration costs 15 euros. That's pretty much the same price everywhere. Domain privacy, you could use that, but I don't think that's really necessary. And the SG site scanner can be helpful too. So if you have a lot of money and want to spend it, you can. It's not a bad service, but in my opinion, it's not really necessary. You can also skip that and make sure that your website is safe with some WordPress plugins. So you can use it, but really don't have to. Okay, I'm going to fill out the information above with my stuff, but I don't want you to see that, obviously. And once we did that, we can click on the checkbox right here, saying that we agree to the terms of service and privacy policy, which we obviously read, like we always do. And then we can click on Pay Now. Now SiteGround is processing your data and creating your account. Once you see this pop up, you can simply click on Proceed to Customer Area. Okay, so there will probably be another pop-up. In this case, they want to help me set up my website, but I will show you everything. So you can simply click on Don't Need Help Right Now, and here they will try to sell you some more stuff, but we don't need that, so make sure that's unchecked. And here we have to click this checkbox once again and then click on Complete Setup. Great, now we are in the SiteGround dashboard. First of all, congratulations. If you followed me so far, you did the first and most important step, and now we can really get started and install WordPress, and then you can build your own beautiful website. So let's get started. First of all, we have to check our email. So we go in there. Okay, as you can see here, we received 3 emails from SiteGround. First, a sales receipt, which I will not open now because my payment information is in there. Then we have a request for an email address verification, so I should go in there and verify my email. This is very important because otherwise your domain won't get registered. So open your mails and then do all of these steps. And the last one is some information about a hosting account. So that's our username, and the password is the one that we signed up with. So that's great from SiteGround 2. So now we know how to log into the user area. So I will close this tab and get to the next step. Now we're going to install WordPress. In order to do that, we have to click on My Accounts up here. Then click Go to cPanel, Proceed, go to Auto Installers. Right here is WordPress, so we click on WordPress. One important note right here, before I continue, in case you try to install WordPress right after signing up for SiteGround and it doesn't work, don't worry. That's completely normal because your web hoster takes some time, in most cases about 3 to 6 or 12 hours, in order to register your domain and to set up everything. That's completely normal, and you just have to take this into account. But sometimes it works right away. So I'll just continue here, but like I said, if it doesn't work right away, don't worry, wait a few hours and try again. So here I click on the blue install button, choose protocol. This one is very important. Like you see here, it says HTTP. But if we look up here, it says HTTPS. This is because, for example, cPanel has an SSL certificate. If we would install WordPress with this protocol, HTTP, it would work, but Google would penalize our site because it wouldn't be as secure as if we had an SSL certificate. So that's one really important step. So if it says HTTP up here, click here on the right side and choose HTTPS. Okay, and yes, that's actually perfect because I wanted to show you how to install an SSL certificate. Sometimes an SSL certificate is automatically installed and sometimes it is not. In your case, I would just try to choose HTTPS, and if it works right away and this doesn't pop up, great, you can install WordPress right away. I will just show you how to install an SSL certificate and then we'll continue here. So I go back to my accounts, go to cPanel, Proceed. Then I'll scroll down to Security, and here I go to Let's Encrypt. Great. Domain, testtutorial.net, Let's Encrypt SSL type, Let's Encrypt SSL, and then I click on Install. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't work right away. Let's Encrypt is a free service that lets you install SSL certificates. I will just refresh this page and look, no. Okay, if it doesn't work right away, simply install it once again. Refresh, nope, install, okay, refresh. Like I said, sometimes it takes some time and sometimes it works right away. What I will try to do is log out of SiteGround and log in once again, and then I'll do it again. Believe me, sometimes it can take some time. I did it about 30 times now for some of my viewers too. And okay, so I'm logged in again. I'll go to my accounts, go to cPanel, Proceed, and I'll scroll down. Let's encrypt. Perfect. Now that we logged out and logged in again, Let's Encrypt was installed and we have an SSL certificate that works. Perfect. Now we can continue installing WordPress. My accounts, go to cPanel, Proceed, WordPress, install, and as you can see, it automatically chose HTTPS. So that's perfect. Here you choose the domain that you want to install WordPress on. You leave the directory empty, site name and site description. You can edit them now, but you can also edit them later. So that's not all that important, but you can do that if you want to. That's basically the name that's up here. So admin username, that's very important because you will later on log into your website with this information. So here you have to choose an admin username. I would recommend not using the name admin itself because a lot of hackers will try that name. So choose something that's not as easy to guess. And then you also have to choose a safe password. so it should at least be strong. Admin email, change this to your personal email, so I'll do that right now. Choose language, select language. I will choose English right now, but you can choose any of these. Select plugins, we don't need that, and easy setup, WordPress data, we also don't need that. So make sure that this is unchecked, and then we click on install. This can take a few minutes. Great. The login information was just sent to your admin email, so that's one thing you should note, especially in case you lose your login details. But what we can do now is here, administrative URL. We can just open that in a new tab. Congrats, you're logged in to your WordPress dashboard. This is WordPress. If you ever want to come back in here, it's pretty simple. It's basically your domain name /wp-admin. That's all there is to it, as you can see here. So I'll just bookmark this one, ready. Okay, perfect. This is the WordPress dashboard. I'll just clean it up right here a little bit because all that stuff is unnecessary. We can also close this window right now. We can even have a first look on our website. Basically, your website is up and live right now. Go hover over my blog and then click Visit Site. This is just the default theme and it's ugly, I would say. So we can go back into our dashboard by hovering over that bar and clicking Dashboard. So now that we installed WordPress, we can really go on and create a beautiful website. But before we go into designing your site, which I know is the best part of it, I will show you two things that are really fundamental to understand in order to know WordPress. So the first thing are settings. I will show you some settings that we have to make in the beginning that are really important. And afterwards, I will show you the basics of WordPress. So for example, how to create pages, blog posts, how to install plugins, and so on and so forth. This won't take very long, but after we did that, we can go on and create our beautiful website. So, are you ready? I'm ready. Let's start. So every time you log in to WordPress, this is your dashboard. In this area, there will be some news about WordPress, and you don't really need it that much. Up here is the admin bar. We also won't need it a lot, only if we want to see our website, we hover over our name and click on Visit Website. Or sometimes if we want to take a shortcut and create a new site, we can click on New, and here we can choose one of these four. On the left hand side is our main navigation. Here we will create posts, pages, work on our appearance, so design our website, can install some plugins, manage our users, manage our tools, and so on and so forth. If we follow along this tutorial, we will work through most of them and you will realize what they are for. If we take a closer look at our domain, you will see that it starts with our domain name. There's not www. And then our domain name in front of it. In case you want to have www. In front of your domain, which doesn't have a really practical sense anymore, but can look more professional sometimes. I will show you how, but this step is not necessary, so you can do it if you want to, but you don't have to. In order to get www in front of your domain, you have to hover over Settings and then go to General. Here you can also change the site title and tagline that I left untouched in the WordPress installation. But in case you want to change it afterwards, you can do it here. I will just, for example, fill my name here. In case you want to have www in front of your website, you will do it right here under WordPress address and site address. Now, if you do it, it's very important that you do it right. Because if you don't, it is possible that you crash your complete site. What we have to do is go in here, and right after the second slash, and before our domain, we have to write www. And we have to do the same thing under site address. So www. It's important that you change nothing else. So nothing in the domain, no uppercases, no other letters or anything like that. Simply www. and nothing else. And then we could save our changes. In my case, I don't want to have that in front of it, so I will just delete that again. But since I changed the site title and tagline, I will have to save my changes right here. And perfect. Okay, I will go back to my dashboard. Let's start with customizing the look of your website by clicking Themes from the Appearance tab. Themes determine the overall look of your website, from layout to color scheme to fonts and more. WordPress does come with some free default themes, so if you click onto Live Preview, you can see how your website would look with each theme. As you can probably see, this does not look great at all, so I will X out of it again. And in order to install a new theme, we simply have to click on Add New. And then we can search through all of them. There are thousands and thousands of WordPress themes. Later on I will install a theme called OceanWP with you, but right now I will simply choose this one for example. And in order to install a theme, you have to hover over it, click on Install. You can also click on Preview to see how it would look. I will click on Install. And then I click on Activate. And now it's active. So we can hover over our name, click on Visit Site. And this is what our site would look like if we would use the Unicorn Light theme right now. I obviously don't like that. And later on, we will create a website with one of my favorite themes. So I will go out of that again. And in the next step, I will show you what plugins are. In the navigation on the left, we hover over Plugins and then click on Install Plugins. See, the beauty of WordPress is that not only you have thousands and thousands of opportunities when choosing your theme, there's also millions of plugins. Plugins are basically like apps. They enhance your website because they are made by professional programmers, and there are plugins for virtually anything you want. Many of them are free, some may also have to be paid, but in most cases you can find a plugin for almost everything. So in order to install a new plugin, we simply have to click on Add New. Here are some recommended plugins. Here you can find popular plugins, here recommended or favorites. Here you can also search for plugins. Right now there are 55,000 plugins. For example, WooCommerce allows you to build a complete online shop. Contact Form 7 allows you to build in contact forms on your website. This is very useful, and as you can see, it has more than 1 million active installations. There's also Yoast SEO. This plugin helps you rank higher on Google. In this case, I want to install Contact Form 7, so I click on Install Now. And then I click on Activate. And here we have Contact Form 7. A lot of times, there will be a new tab on the left side after you install the plugin, and sometimes they are a little hidden. In this case, we have to click on Contact on the left side, and then click Contact Form. And here we have a simple contact form. So we have this contact form here that was created by default. If I click on it, we will see that it looks pretty simple. I will not show you how to build a contact form with Contact Form 7 right now. That may be a future tutorial, but I will go back here and just show you how to build in this contact form into your site. So this shortcode right here, we copy that. Then we go to Pages, which is actually the next step. I wanted to show you how to create pages. So we go to Pages, All Pages. Right now there's no default page. So I will click on Add New. Call this one Test, because we will not use it later on. Then I will go in here. This basically works like Word or any other text editor you know. You can write bold, italic, have a bullet list or numbered list. You can use block quotes, you can link certain things, paragraph, heading 1, heading 2. So that's really basically like Word. Okay, what I will do is call this contact form. And then I will fill in the shortcode that we just copied and click on Publish. By clicking Publish, the site that we just created will be made public. We can visit this site by looking at Permalink and then opening this site. And as you can see, there's a contact form in here. So that's perfect. It still doesn't look good, but that was just to show you how you can build in shortcode into your sites. And this is actually the way sites were created in the past. Because people wrote text and pictures and filled in shortcodes until their site looked okay. But that was the past. In a few minutes I will show you how you can professionally build your websites with a page builder. It's way simpler, way better. It's responsive, so you can look at it on mobile phones, and it's overall a way better experience. I will go out of here again and I will go back into the settings. So I will go to dashboard. No, I don't want to save that, so I go on. Perfect. Okay. The next thing we have to do is go to settings and permalinks, and then we choose post name. Not day and name, post name. That's better for SEO. Then we click on save changes. Perfect. So now that we did that, I will show you how you can create blog posts. For that you will have to go on post up here and click on add new, or we can also go on all posts. As you can see here, we have WordPress resources at SiteGround, which should also be, yeah, here, WordPress resources at SiteGround. Here we have a post. This one was created by default, but if we look here, it is also on our homepage. If we would add a new post, which I can do by clicking on add new, test, and publish. And if I refresh this site, test will be up here. In case you just want to have a blog and not a real homepage, these settings are actually right. One important thing that you can also see here is that my login data is published as the author. We don't want that, because hackers would realize this, and the chances of you getting hacked when your admin data is public are way higher. So I will go back in the dashboard, go to users, all users. This is my profile, so I click on edit, and here I will set a nickname, Tim, and then display name publicly as Tim. Update profile. And now it's called Tim. That's way better. I would really recommend that you do this too. Perfect. Now I go back into the dashboard. Now I know that this is a lot at once. I rushed through here pretty much, but we are not done yet. I will build a complete website with you, and in the process of doing that, you will understand everything. Because, like I said, we will go through almost all of these settings, and I will show you the most important stuff. Showing you all this in 5 minutes won't work. Nobody can understand that. I didn't for a few months actually. So don't worry if this is still confusing. Just follow along here, do what I do, and you will get it over time. So don't worry. Okay, what we're going to do next is actually installing the theme we are going to use in this tutorial. Like you just learned, we go to Appearance, Themes. Then I click on Add New, search Themes, and I search for OceanWP. Perfect. Then I click on Install, Activate. Great. And as you can see here, this theme recommends the following plugins. Elementor. This is also the page builder that we're going to use in this tutorial. To save some time, we can simply click on Begin installing plugins. Then we click this checkbox. This will check all of them. Bulk actions, install, apply. If it looks like that, congratulations, we were successful. Now that we did that, we can look at our website once again, but I warn you, it will still not look great because we have to customize it. Yeah, it's basically completely blank. But as you can see here, this is still in the blog format. We want a real homepage. So what we have to do is go back into our dashboard. As you can see here, this is still in the blog format. So I will add some new pages in the dashboard, and then I will create a home page. So let's go back to the dashboard. Little quiz. How do we create a page? Right, you go to Pages and add New. I will add a title. In this case, this page is going to be my home page, so I will call it Home. Later on, we will go into the settings and then we will edit the page with Elementor. But right now, I will click on Publish and then I will create some more pages. So I will just go to Add New. This one could be an About Us page. I will click Publish. To save some time, I will speed this video up right now, but I will also create a blog page and a contact page. In the next step, I will go into the settings in order to set up our homepage. So I will go to Settings and click on Reading. Your homepage displays. There we select a static page. And on the homepage, we will just choose the page that we want to have as a homepage. So in my case, it's called Home. Post page. In case you want to have a blog, this would be the page that you have to select right here. So I will select Blog. And then I click on Save Changes. Perfect. If we refresh this site, you will see that it looks different because this is blank right now. That's perfect. That means that you have a homepage. I mean, it's still blank, so we have to edit it later on. But the next thing that we actually have to do is create a menu. Because if you look here, you don't have any navigation. Once you're on the homepage, you can't go to any other sites. This is what we'll do next. So I go back into the dashboard, go to Appearance, then click on Menus. I'll give my menu a name, in this case, Header. Click on Create Menu. And on the left side, I can choose the pages that I want to have in my navigation. So I will choose Home, About Us, Blog and Contact. Then I click Add to Menu. You can switch up the order by simply dragging it and putting it up, or like that. And you can also select the drop-down menu. So if you drag, for example, this contact page and put it on the right, this will be a drop-down menu from Blog. In my case, I don't want that, but I could do it. We can also link posts or custom links. So here you have to fill in the URL and then a link text. I will not do that right now, but just so you know it. And you can also put in categories or menu icon settings. But in most cases, you just need pages, posts, and maybe custom links. The next thing we'll have to do is add the menu settings. The display location should be main, because it is the main menu. It is up here. So I go in there, click main, and then I save the menu. If we refresh the page, here's our menu. That's perfect. But in the bottom, there's no menu yet. So we could also add one there by clicking Create a new menu and then doing exactly the same. So I could call it Footer, create the menu, choose which pages I want on there, add them to the menu, and this time I would have to select Footer and then click on Save Menu. I do not want this menu right now, so I click on Delete Menu and OK. But principally, you could do it like that. Perfect. I also want to show you how we can edit our pages. So I go into Pages on the left side and then click on All Pages. And as you can see here, here's the test website that we created a few minutes ago. I don't need that anymore, so I can simply click on Trash. Then go to Trash and delete it permanently. Perfect. So you can always go in here, create new pages or manage old ones or edit them too. So now that we did that, we have a menu, we have a home page, we don't have a footer yet, that will be done later on. And that's basically all we have to do in these settings. So now we can really go on and create our beautiful website. Let's go. The first step is to go to Pages or Pages and then click on Home. And now we can go into the OceanWP settings. Content layout, default, there we choose 100% full width. Sidebar default, margins, enable. Then we go to header on the left side display top bar. In this case, I will click on enable and you will later on see what it is. In case you don't want to use any of this, you can always go to disable or click default. Display header, we also choose enable. Perfect. Then we go to title, display page title. If we go to our site, here, you will see that it says home, because the title is home. I don't want that on there because it doesn't look very great. In case we want to have home on our page, we will just put it in later on. But we don't want it by default. So I will choose disable. Perfect. And then we go to footer. Display footer widgets area, there we click on enable. Display copyright area, there we also click on enable. Because this can probably be seen here, yeah. This is the copyright area and this overall is the footer area. So in just a few seconds we will also edit this. And then we have to click on update. If we go to the site and refresh it, you will see that this sidebar is gone. And that's the way we want it. Now we can really start designing this page. There's basically two areas that we want to design on our page. The first area is this header and this footer area. And the second area is everything in between. The first area, so here and here, will always stay the same, no matter how many pages you create. So if we click on blog, on contact or on about us, the header and the footer will always stay the same. In order to design these two areas, all we have to do is go to our dashboard, go to appearance and then click on customize. In this right area we have a live preview of all the changes we make. And on the left side there are multiple settings that we can play with. Especially for a free theme, there are really a lot of them. We don't need to know all of them right now. In this tutorial I will show you the most important ones. And later on, if you want to play a little bit with your website, you can go in there and try them out. The first option I want to go into is General Options and then General Styling. Here you can choose your page's colors. If we go into primary color, for example, we can click on there and you have two options to change the color. You can either go in here and drag it around. So I could choose the screen, for example, and I could also make it more transparent on this side. But I will keep it like that. And the second option is to go in here and fill in a hex code. So you either have your own hex codes or you can use an external service. And this is what I do too. So I will open a new tab and I will open color.adobe.com. This is a service from Adobe, which is pretty cool because you can choose your own colors and it will automatically show some other options for you. So for example, if I want to have a light blue website, on this side I can choose what I want. This is in German now, but for example, I want complementary colors. I can click on there and then I have these different colors available. So this dark blue, light blue, and these complementary colors. I could also choose monochromatic or shadows. So there's a lot of different options and I really like this color picker because it's a little better than WordPress. So maybe you can use it too. It's free. So I will choose this blue, for example, and then choose complementary, and I will put it in a new tab so we can work on it right now. Okay, so my primary color should be this dark blue, so I click on there, copy the hex code and put it in here. Perfect. Hover primary color, this is just the color that will come if you hover over there. So I will choose, yeah, that's better. So I will choose this light blue, copy it and put it in here. Main border color is this one right here. So if I would make it red, for example, you will see it here. I will just keep it in the default color scheme. So you can also always just go to default and it will go back to the old settings. So background color should be in white too. We don't want a background image yet. And link colors. So link color is on this gray right now and I want yellow. So I can copy that, go to color and fill it in here. And as you can see, if I hover over it, it turns to this blue. So I will also change that to just to a darker yellow tone. So color hover and I will mark that. Perfect. So it gets a little darker. These are the general styling options with colors. You can just play around with it a little bit and find the colors that you want to use. In this case, the yellow and everything might not look that great, but I'm sure that if you spend some time on finding the right colors, you will find a great mixture. One very important step in the customizer is that you click on publish every time that you did some changes and that you want to save them. So I click on publish, great. And now I can go out of here again and out of the general options. The next thing I want to edit is this top bar. I click on top bar and we'll start with the general settings. So I click on general, enable top bar, yes. Top bar full width, we could choose this and as you can see it will go further apart. That's just your preference. I will not choose this right now. Under visibility we can choose whether this top bar should be seen on all devices or maybe should be hidden on tablet, on mobile, or hidden on tablet and mobile. I want it shown on all devices. Style, left content, right social. We can switch it up or center content and social, so everything's in the middle. I will choose left content and right social. Background color can be in white, that's okay. Border color white, text color I will choose this blue. And for the link color I will choose this blue. And link hover color, okay, there are no links yet. I will choose this blue. No, there, link and here, perfect. You could also play with the padding. I could make this bigger by making 20 for example, and as you can see there's more space in the top, but I don't think that's necessary, so I will put it back to 8. And now I click on publish. Then we go to content. Content. Here we can fill in whatever we want to have on our top bar. For example, your phone number and your mail. Then we can click on publish. Then I can go back and we can go to social, enable social if we want to have our social media linked in the top of our page. We don't need a social alternative right now, social link target. We can either choose that if we click on the icon that it will open in a new window, or we can open it in the same window. So this page will close. I will always choose new window because the users will stay longer on your site. Font size, let's leave it at 14. Social links color, I leave it in gray. Twitter, okay, I will just fill in some imaginary links, but you can fill in your usernames. So for example, twitter.com/Tim Wessels. I don't have a Twitter, but still. Then Facebook, Google+, Pinterest.com, Instagram. Oh, you can follow me on Instagram. So I will just leave it at these. And as you can see, they are gray right now and not that big. So we could also go into the font size and make it a little bigger. Then we could also choose another color so it stands out a little more. For example, blue, yellow, but yellow is not so great on the right background. So I will choose blue in this example. Now that we did the social icons, we can also click on publish. Then we can go back. And for example, if you don't want this top bar, you can simply go back. Okay, so make sure that everything's published, that you wanted to have published. Go back in here. Go to pages or pages. Home. Go to edit. And then go to header. Display top bar. And click on disable. I just did this one to show you. Wait, we can just refresh it and see here. For example, if I go to Instagram, bam, it loads. Okay, this time it didn't load because it was the wrong link. But in general, it will open a new tab and then load your social media, which is pretty great. But I don't need a top bar right now, so I clicked on disable and then I click on update. And if I refresh this page, you will see that the top bar is gone. So like I said, I just did this one to show you how the top bar would look. Now I go back to appearance and customize. And then we can go back into the next setting. Go to header. Then go to logo. And in case you already have a logo, you can select it here and then it will appear here where your website's name is. So I will just select a random logo. In case you already uploaded some media to WordPress, you can also search it here under media library. But if you didn't upload your logo, you can click on upload files, click on select files and then choose your logo. So I will choose this one, for example. And then I click on select. And here you can click on skip cropping. And as you can see, it appears here. Maybe that's a little too big or too high. And then you can just play with width or with the height in this area. So I could make it a little smaller or a little bigger. Perfect. I like it that way. And then I click on publish. Great. Now I can go out of logo again. Then I can click on general. Your header style currently is minimal. We could also choose full screen, for example. And as you can see, your menu disappeared, but you have this little icon, and if you click on it, it will be a full size menu. I also like that variation, but I will X out of this again. And you can also choose one of these others. To save some time, I won't show every single option, but you can just test everything out, choose the one you like, and then go with it. So I click on minimal again. You can also, like previously, play with the height. So right now it's set to 74 pixels, but you could also make it higher or lower. So I will just go back to 74. Header full width. But as you can see, there's a lot of options you can play with. And you just have to find out what you like and what you don't like. Background color is right now, but I could also make it red, which doesn't look good. So I go to default. Here you can change the padding, so you can make some space on top, on the right, bottom or left. And that's everything I wanted to show here. So I click on, no, I don't even, I click on publish. Great, okay. I can go back out of general again. We can also go into menu. And we could, for example, center the menu or put it on the left. But I think on the right is the best place for a menu. Link effects, no effect. You could also choose underline from left, for example. And if we hover over it, it will underline links. These effects are pretty cool in my opinion. So you can play with it and choose one of these. I will just choose underline from left, and as previously we can choose another link color. And that's something I wanted to say once again. This is a free theme and a free page builder. And look down here. I mean, I haven't seen a single theme or page builder before that allows so many customization options. That's really, really, really great. I can't go into every single option because, as you can imagine, this would take at least 10 hours and I can't do it. So either you just do the most simple options and later on play around with it until you find something you like, or you Google everything and learn everything from the start to finish. But that's a little too much and I don't think that's really necessary. So I would just go with the basics, and if you want to customize anything later on, you can just Google it. There's millions of Elementor and at least a few 100,000 users of OceanWP, so you will always find an answer. I will click on publish and then I go back. And that's all I want to do in the header. So I go back in here and we can go to the next step. In the next step, we want to edit our footer. So we go to Footer Widgets. And Footer Widgets is this gray area between our header and this lowest bar. Here we can choose where this is shown again. So hide on tablet, hide on mobile, or hide on tablet and mobile. I want this to be shown on all devices. Then we have the option to have a fixed footer. As you can see here, we don't have any content between our header and our footer. So the footer went up. If we click on fixed footer and it is on, the footer is always at the bottom. I think that's pretty great because a footer that goes up looks pretty strange. So I would advise you to choose a fixed footer. Select template, we don't need that, and columns. Right now it's set to 4 columns. For example, if I go to Amazon and scroll down, you will see that this footer has 4 columns. You could also choose 3 columns or 2 columns. That's up to you. In a few seconds we will also fill in something into your footer. So that's when your columns come in handy. I will just leave it at 4 columns right now, but you could choose another number. We can also play with the padding again to make some more space, but I don't think that's necessary, so I'll leave it at 30 right now. But just so you know, you can all do it here. We can also play with the background color, text color, border color, and link hover color. I won't go into detail there once again, but you know that you can play with the colors, so that's great. So I did everything I wanted to do here, and then I click on publish. Always remember, always click on publish or otherwise your work won't be saved. So I can go back out of this again and then click on footer bottom. This is this copyright area. We can change the visibility once again, and the main thing that we want to do here is change the copyright text. Right now it says copyright 2018 OceanWP theme by Nick. So I will just change it to my site's name. And don't worry that there's OceanWP date, and here also on your live site this changes to your current year. Here we can also play with our padding once again to make it a little bigger or a little smaller, and we can also play with the background color. So we could, for example, make it the same color as this bar. I won't do it right now, but like previously, just so you know, you could. Okay, I published that and I go out of here again. And now we can work on our footer to fill in these columns and have something in there. So I click out of here again, and then I go back to my dashboard by clicking on this X. In this area is really kinda hard to find. So you have to go to Appearance and then to Widgets. Perfect. And as you can see here, we have footer 1, footer 2, footer 3 and footer 4. These are the columns that we created just a few seconds ago and looked at Amazon. Here on the left side, you have all your available widgets. So everything you can fill in these columns. For example, you can fill in your Flickr or MailChimp account, some social icons, a video, or your Instagram account. There's really a lot of opportunities here. The main thing you're probably going to use is text. So I'll just go to text down here, click on it, and just drag and drop it to footer 1. Here you can fill in a title, for example, about us. Then you can fill in a text. In this case, I would link our story, for example, in case you have such a page. And then we can make a link out of it. So I'll mark it, and then I click on this symbol, insert edit link, and I'll have to fill in my link. In this case, I will just link youtube.com, but you obviously have to fill in your real link. Then I click on apply. Now we could also fill in a second link or a third link. So I just click enter, and then I could add another page, for example, the founders. Then I'll mark it again, click on insert link, and fill in youtube.com again, click on apply. And maybe a third link. So for example, employees. I can mark it once again, fill in a link, and once again, I will fill in youtube.com. Then I can apply, and I could also edit some other things. So I could maybe highlight employees by making it bold and italic, or just bold, something like that. So that really works like Word or Google Docs, just like any other editor you know. And then I click on save. Great. Now if I go to my page and refresh it, you will see that we have about us here, and then we have our story, and if I click on it, it opens youtube.com. That's perfect. So if you're happy with your first footer, you can click on this arrow once again, and then we can go to footer 2. So maybe I want to do the same thing with footer 2. So I can click on text once again, scroll down, and drag and drop it in here. And now I can edit this. So for example, legal. Then I'll call this one privacy policy. I'll mark it, insert link. And obviously you would have to fill in the link of your privacy policy, but I'll just have some example links. And I can put in another one. So this time maybe terms of service. Insert link, youtube.com. And then I have to click on save once again. It's saved. And now I can refresh this page once again. And you see about us, legal, and terms of service. And you have YouTube once again. Perfect. That works. To save some time, I'm not going to do this for footer 3 and footer 4, but it's the same thing every single time. And if you don't just want to use text, but maybe some of these other widgets, you can just use them, test them out, and if you like it, keep it. If you don't like it, delete it again. You can just click on delete. So that's a really easy way to create your footers. And in the next step, we're going to edit everything in between the footer and the header. So I can go back into the dashboard. We already did the most important steps. Now it's really just up to designing some of the aspects of our website. This is the best and most fun part, because now you can really live out your creativity. Let's go! To start designing our page, we have to hover over page, then go to all pages, and now we have to choose the page that we want to edit. In my case, I want to edit the home page, so I go to home and click on edit. And now you have to click on edit with Elementor. This button might appear somewhere in here, but in my case it's up here, so I click on that. This is the Elementor page builder. It's built up kind of similar to the customizer. On your right side you have a live preview of all your changes, and on the left side we have a lot of widgets that we can edit in here. But before that, we'll have to do some things in the Elementor page builder. Click on these 3 bars in the top left first. Here we have default colors. We can click on that, and as you can see, this color palette is a little different to our color palette. You can either leave it like that, or you could also choose one of these. But in my case, I will go back to Adobe and choose my color palette. So I will just copy the hex code, go to the primary color and fill it in here. Then secondary color, I'll take this light blue, copy the hex code, then go in here. To speed it up, I won't do it with all these colors, but as you can see, you could also choose another color scheme, for example, like one of these, which can look pretty great too. So I just choose one of these, since this is just an example page, and then I click on apply. This is very important. If you don't click on apply, your changes won't be saved. So I click on apply. To get back into the widgets area, we have to click on these dots. Now, before we go into all of these, there's a few more things I want to show you. So the first thing I want to show you is preview changes. If we click on here, it will open a preview page. Now there's nothing in there because we haven't done any work. But if you ever want to see what your page would look like, simply click on this eye and you will see it right here. Then we have responsive mode. This is really important. We can click on this and then we can decide in which mode we want to see our previews. So either desktop or a tablet, and it will get a little smaller, or also mobile. This is very important because with this you can see whether some of your areas are, for example, too big or too small, and if it's responsive. Most users today are mobile, or at least on the tablet, so as you can imagine, it's really important that your page is responsive. For example, the menu automatically gets responsive here, but in case something is too big, I will later on show you how we can do it too. But just remember, go into the responsive mode and then you can see some previews. I will go back to desktop, and the next thing I want to show you is history. So on this little arrow, you either have actions or revisions. So if you ever make a mistake in your page builder and want to do something about it, simply go on this arrow, go to revisions, and then you can go back to your old state of this page. That's also really great. Navigator isn't useful, and we have some settings. So title, home, status published, and featured images, but we really don't need that. We could also go into the style, but that's something we can go into later on, except if you want to use some custom CSS. But for that you would have to have Pro. Which, by the way, I don't think is necessary, but if you sometimes in the future might need some extra things that you don't have yet, maybe you want to upgrade. I mean, it's not that expensive, but right now I don't think you really need it. So let's click back on these dots and we are in here. Elementor is built up pretty easily. There's 3 ways you can build your website with Elementor. I'm going to start explaining the first way, just because it contains all the basics that you will need for the other 2. The first step is always to click on this plus, and here we can add a new section. We can choose between a single structure or an area that is split in 2, 3, 4, 1/3 and 2/3, and all of these other structures. In my case, I could, for example, choose the single one, and as you can see here, we have this area. As we added this area, the left side changed. And on the left side, we can always edit these boxes or the widgets. So the first thing we can do with this area is hover over edit section, click it, and then we can drag and drop it somewhere else. In case you already have multiple sections added, you could change the order this way. Now, if we want to edit this area, we have to click on this icon, and then we can edit it here. The first thing is the layout. Here is, for example, content width. Right now it's set to boxed. Got it. So right now it's set to boxed. That means it doesn't range from left to right, but is slightly cut off. We could, for example, choose full width, and as you can see, it now goes from side to side. We could also edit the columns gap, so no gap, and also the height for fit to screen, for example. Now what else could we do? And by the way, I just show you some examples. You don't have to do all of these, it's just to show you most of the functions. We could go into style up here. Here we have background. This is set on normal. We could also choose hover, but I will choose normal right now. And then we can choose a different background type. So we have classic, gradient, and background video. So we could add a background video or a color that is gradient. But in my case, I will choose classic and then an image. You could also just choose a color, for example, green. But in my case, I'll clear that again. Click on background color, classic once again. And then I choose an image. I already uploaded an image, so I can click on that and click on insert media. But as you know, you could also go on upload files and then select a file from your computer. I click on insert media. And as you can see, this is way too big. So position should be center. And it's still a little too big. So we can also go into size and click on cover. And now it fits way better. We could also add a background overlay. So for example, a gradient type, color, green, and this pink. And then we could make it a little more transparent so that the gradient isn't too strong. And we could also change the location so it moves a little bit. Now, does this look good? I don't know. I think it looks okay. And here are some more settings, but I can go into detail of everything in here. Just so you know, you can play around with it a little bit and figure out the things that you like. You could also add a border or shape divider, but that all isn't really that necessary. And we could also go on advanced. And here we could also, for example, edit a margin. So there's a little bit more space between the header and the background picture. And you could also go into the padding so that there's more space in here. These are some advanced settings that you probably don't even have to touch in the beginning, but you could if you wanted to. I can go back to layout once again. And since I really don't have to edit anything else in here, I can click on this icon once again. And as I said, I can't go into every single option in here, but you will find the most important ones because it's pretty self-explaining. So content width, columns gap. If you know a little bit of English, which you probably do because you watch an English video, you can find out most of these things. And the great thing too is that Elementor is used by millions of websites. So if you have any questions, you can simply Google Elementor section border. And you will have probably 20 blog posts showing you how to edit your border. So we can click on this icon again. And now we can put in some of these widgets. In my case, I will put in a heading. So in order to do that, you simply have to hover over the widget that you want to use, click on it, and then drag and drop it into the area that we just created. So it's in here. Your heading text. And because we just put it in here, we can edit it on the left side immediately. So in case this doesn't open right away, you can simply click on the thing that you want to edit and then it will open. So add your heading text, for example, we love skateboarding. This is simply the title and the content. We could also make it a link. So we would have to fill in a link in here. I will just youtube.com, for example, size default. We could also make it XXL, HTML tag, make it H1 because it's our first tag. And then we can edit the alignment. So center, right, left. I will put it into center. And then I can also click on style to go more into detail of the style. Text color. Here we can choose another color. In my case, I want to choose black. Then typography. Here we can choose another font. So for example, Arial, which I personally like. And then we can go into the size. So I will make it a little bigger. Like that, for example. Rate is set on default. We could also make it bold. Transform, style, decoration. We really don't need that, but it's also pretty self-explaining. Letter spacing, we could make it a little bigger like that. Okay, great. As you can see here in size, there's a little desktop icon. We can also click on that, and then we can choose the size on tablet or on mobile. So I can also click on tablet. Then the editor will change into the tablet mode, and here we can see whether the letters would be too big on your tablet. In this case it works, but let's just say it would be too big. You could also go in here then and find a size you like. For example, like that. So it's just in one column. We can also do that on mobile. And as you can see here, it's way too big. So I will make that smaller. Just like that, for example. And that's also the way you can make your page responsive. Simply go into the responsive mode, go to tablet for example, and always check if something is too big or doesn't look great. In case you find something, click on it, and then you can edit it. So in this case we would have to go to typography, click on this edit, and then we are automatically in the tablet mode, and we could change everything that we don't like or that isn't responsive. So that's the way you make your page responsive, which, like I said, is really essential. So after you did some changes, just check your site and see if everything looks fine on the mobile version. Advanced tab, we don't need that, but it's always the same basically. Background, border, responsive, and oh yeah, and in the advanced tab you can also go on to responsive. So we have hide on desktop, hide on tablet, or hide on mobile. In case you don't want to have this area on mobile, for example, because I think this didn't look very great on mobile because it wasn't really big, you can go in here and say it should be hidden, and then it won't be shown. Right now it's still shown because it isn't live, but in the live version you wouldn't see it on your mobile version. So that's also a great way to hide some things that you simply can't do responsive. Great, now I click on update, which is also a really important step, because otherwise you will lose the work you previously did. And then we have two choices. We can either add a new widget in here. For example, I could also add a button, so I click on this, drag it in here, and I want to have it under the title, so I hover under the title and let it fall in here. And as you can see here, it's in there. The button settings are already opened, and now we have type. Default, for example, info. Text, start now. Link, we can fill in a link in here. So for example, youtube.com. Alignment, I can center it. Size, large. Select icon, we can also add an icon in here. So for example, we want an anchor, icon position, after, icon spacing, let's make it a little bigger, yeah. Then we can go into the style once again. Background color is set on blue right now, I want it in black for example. Text color is set on white. I like it that way. And now we can edit a cool effect, for example. Here it's set on normal. If we go on hover, there are no colors yet. So what we could do is add a text color, which is black, and a background color, which is white. And if we hover over this button right now, it changes. I think that's a pretty cool effect. We can also go into the padding once again, but I don't think that's really necessary, and we can also go into the advanced and add a margin or padding, background, and all that stuff. I think you slowly get the idea of this editor. It's basically always left as content, there's style and there's advanced, and you simply have to test out some of these settings. I mean, I really can't show you every single setting because the tutorial is already long enough and most of these settings are not that useful and you don't need them. So I would suggest that you simply test out some of the things that you need. And if you need help, like I said, Elementor is used by millions of pages. Simply Google, for example, Elementor icon position button, and you will find a ton of results helping you. So that's no problem. That's also the way that I really learned to use WordPress. Now we can also go back in here, and now we could add a new section. So I click on this button again, and this time I want 2. So I click on here, and we have one here and one here. This section shouldn't be full width, so I'll let it that way, and I simply click on here and fill in a new widget. In this case, I want a counter, for example. So I click on counter, hover it in here, and drop it in there. Here we have the content once again. Starting number should be 5, ending number 150. Animation duration, here we can decide how long it should work. I think 2000 is good. 1000 separator, show or not show. So if we have, it is a comma. Maybe you're in Europe or you're in America, so it is a point or a comma. So if it doesn't work for you, you can simply hide the 1000 separator. And you can change the title, for example, employees. That would be a pretty big company. Okay. Then we could also go into the style, text color. We want it in black. Great. Title, text color. We also want it in black, but a little more transparent. Great. Then we could also go into the typography. Click on this pencil and choose Arial. This is also a little advice from me. Don't use more than 2 fonts in one website, because otherwise it won't look that great. So decide on 1 or 2 fonts. We could also change the size, the weight to bold, for example. And there's a lot of different settings we could edit in here. We could also have a look on the version on the tablet and the mobile version, but it still looks good, except for the button. But since we hide this whole area on mobile, it doesn't matter anyway. But in case you would have to edit it, simply click on here and then you can make it responsive. So this counter looks great. We could also go into advanced, look at it from a desktop point of view once again. And maybe I want to have some spacing between this background image and 1500. So I could add a margin of 100. Great. Now I click on update just to save my settings. And then I can click on this area once again. And maybe we want to have a second counter on the right side. So what we can do is hover over this widget, do a right click, and then we can click on copy, go in here and click on paste. Now we saved some time because we don't have to design both. We simply have to edit the content. So I click on here and then I can, starting number for example is 1, ending number is 10, and the title is companies. Perfect. Now we have 2 counters. We could also go into the style, but we don't need to edit anything because it already copied the style of the left one. This is also something I would suggest you do in case you have widgets that you're going to use multiple times. Do it once and make sure that you like the style and the design. And later on you can simply copy this widget and fill it in and use it on other areas of your website. Because then you only have to change the content and not the style. It can be a real pain in the ass to make sure that the styles are always the same. So I click on update. So maybe I want to have a second button. So I click on plus once again, and this time I select 1. And then I can simply right click on here, click on copy, and paste it in here. And then click on it and change the content. So text is subscribe. Link. Perfect. And now we could also change the anchor. Search for Facebook. We could also go into the style and just change the background color to a blue. And now we saved some time. Then I click on update and perfect. We just edited this button in like 30 seconds and we didn't have to create a new one. And then I can click on this once again. It slowly starts to take form. Now I would love to edit more sections in here and show you every single widget, because you can really do some great things with all these widgets and be really creative. I mean, you have Google Maps, you have a divider, you have buttons, you can edit a video, icons, a star rating, a counter, toggle, social icons, you can edit your SoundCloud, maybe you're a rapper or something. There's really endless opportunities with these widgets. And the best part is, it's free. I honestly haven't seen a single page builder that is free with these many options. So make the best use of it. I obviously can show you every single widget in here, and I also obviously can show you every single section we can edit. Now, if you want some special things, or if you maybe want to check out the Google Maps widget, you can either just try it out. Most of these widgets are pretty self-explaining and are easy to learn. And if you then have any problems, simply Google Elementor Page Builder Google Maps. And boom, you have like 3 videos, 10 blog posts, and everything's explained in detail. Like I said, I can show you everything. This tutorial would probably be about 15 hours then, and most of it isn't of any use for you anyway. So like I said, just Google it and you find everything out. Great. So I'll just leave this page like that. Make sure you click on update. And this was already the first way you can create your pages using Elementor. Now I'll show you the second and the third way. And I will do the second way on another page. So I go back to my dashboard by clicking on this icon and then clicking exit to dashboard. But before you do that, remember, click on update. Click on all pages. Then I want to edit the About Us page, for example. So I click on edit. And remember, first we have to do these OceanWP settings. So content layout, 100% full width. Then we go to header, click on disable, display header, enable, header style doesn't matter, title, display page title disable, and footer, enable and enable. Perfect. That's all we need to do. Then we click on update. We can view our page once. So it looks like that. That's great. And then we can click on edit with Elementor. The second option we can use in order to build our websites with Elementor are blocks. This time we don't have to click on this plus, but on this icon right next to it. So add template. And here we have 2 options, pages and blocks. The third way to build your pages with Elementor is using pages. But right now I will show you blocks. So you have to click on blocks. And here you have hundreds of layouts for your page. As you can see, there's really a lot of them. And most of them are for different uses. So some are great as a header, some are great in the footer area, some you can use to collect emails, some you can use to have a contact form, some to display pages, and whatever. So I can scroll up, for example, and here I can choose the category. This page is going to be an About Us page. I hope. Yeah, I think it was About Us. So I could, for example, choose here, go to, let's say, for example, about. And here we really have some options that we can choose from. So simply choose one that you think could look great. In this case, I will just choose this one, for example, click on it once. And then we see a bigger option of it. And if you like it, you can click on insert. And as you can see, it automatically inserted in here. And then we can edit it like I showed you just a few minutes ago. So I want to edit this text. I can simply click on it and edit the text. Then I can edit a link, for example, go into the style once again, go into the advanced tabs, or maybe I want to change this text. So I can go in here, change the text, change this text, change this text. So as you can see, you can edit all of this. And in case you don't like it, maybe it doesn't fit to your website or it looked better when it was smaller, you can simply click on this X, delete the section, go in here once again, go to blocks and change another one. So we can go on about once again and choose this one, for example. Then I click on insert and this one was added. And now we can edit it once again. So I can click on this text, edit it, go to style, go to advanced, and so on and so forth. We could now add another one. So I click on edit template again, go to blocks. And this time I want to show some clients of us. So I go to clients and the last block was black. So this time I will choose white. So I go on here, go to insert. And now this showcases some clients. And we can go into every single box in here, change the image, or go in here and change the text. So you can really use these blocks as a layout and later on change the text or the styling a little bit so it fits into your profile and into your company. That's an easy way to save some time because these blocks are created by web design specialists. And why shouldn't you use this resource if it is given? Saves a lot of time and headaches, and you can still customize a lot of it. So maybe I want to add another block. So I go to blocks once again. And this time I want to edit a fag. Maybe I want this one. So I go in here and click on insert. And this even has drop-down menus. So that looks pretty cool. And then we can go in here and simply edit it. So I personally love blocks because they saved me a ton of time in the past. And you can really create a lot of beautiful pages in no time with that. Then I click on update. And now I'll show you the third way you can build your website. So I go back into my dashboard. Go to all pages. And this time I go to contact, click on edit. Once again, content layout, 100% full width. Header, disable, enable, title, disable, and footer, enable and enable. Then I click on update. And now I click on edit with Elementor. Okay, the third way, as you've already seen, is using pre-made pages. So you can click on add template once again, and now we have pages. Here are a ton of free layouts, but some also have to be paid. If you have the pro version of Elementor, you can also use these. But here we could search a contact page. So I simply click on contact. And here we have some options. This one's for free, for example, this one's for free, this one's for free, this. Half of them are only available in the Elementor Pro version. Maybe I like this one. I think that looks pretty cool. And then I can click on insert. And now we have a contact us page. This is basically a complete contact us page and we don't need anything more. You could also add a new block in here by clicking on block, or edit a single widget in here. So you can also combine the three ways with which you can build your Elementor page. Maybe in here I want to edit something, so I can simply click on edit section, or click in here and then change the address to Wall Street, New York, for example, and it will automatically find your area. Maybe you're in a smaller town and want to have it a little more precise, so you can go to zoom and zoom in a little bit, or a little bit out. Great. You can also change the height and, like always, go into mobile or the tablet mode just to see what your page would look like. Now I know this isn't really responsive because the logo is still a little bit too big, and for example this text isn't in one row, but we could go in here, for example, then go to style, typography, size, and this time make it a little well, like that. Then I can click on update, go back into the desktop mode, and maybe I want to have this area under the map. So I can also go in here and drag and drop it under here. Perfect. I mean, this doesn't really look good, but you get the idea. I will put it back. Awesome. And also maybe you don't need this one, so you can simply click on X, and that's it. These are the three ways you can edit your pages with Elementor. I've shown you all the basics you will need, and now you're really ready to build your first website. You know how to set up hosting, how to install WordPress, how to do the most important settings in WordPress, how to use the customizer, and now how to use the Elementor page builder. You can make your pages responsive, you can edit them by using widgets, you can use blocks, and you can use whole pages. If you've understood all these concepts, you're completely ready to build your first website. And even if you didn't understand everything, every fourth website on the internet uses WordPress. There's millions of users of Elementor, and there's also at least a few 100,000 users of OceanWP. So if you have any questions, simply go into Google, use some of these keywords in here, and you will find an answer to all of your questions. And if you have another question, just pop it in the comments and I will do my absolute best to help you out. I read every single comment and I answer to everybody. So I hope you liked this video, and in case you did, please consider leaving a like so YouTube also knows that this video isn't bullshit, and this way you will help this channel grow. Thanks a lot for that. In case you decided on the SiteGround, remember my link. Thanks for watching me. I'm glad that we made it this far. Have a great day. I wish you every bit of luck and success for your website. Bye.